Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from around the world. We are set for another set of six. And tonight gives me great pleasure to be talking to a couple of our touch family in England, the host of Euros 2022. And I'm joined tonight by Ben Powell and also Sammie Phillips. I'm going to throw Sammie in at the deep end. Thanks for joining us right on time. Evening, Ben. Evening, Sammie, or good morning. It might be.
Yeah, g'day, Adam. Thanks for having us along.
Good morning.
Great. Thanks for joining us once again. All set to talk about the Euros. We're pretty excited to be bringing coverage in preparation for what sounds like it's going to be a fantastic tournament over there. Let's have a little bit about a chat about yourselves first. Ben, what's the Ben Powell story, and what's your role over there with England at the moment?
So my role at the moment is high performance director. Everything high performance sits with me and my fantastic high performance panel, of which Sammie's a key member of that. But come Euros, the other hat that I'll be very proudly wearing is the England Women's Open head coach as well.
Fantastic. A man of many talents and going to be very busy, I would have thought, as England host Euros 22. So, Sammie, what's the Sammie Phillips story, and what are you doing over there in England for the Euros?
So my role in the high performance team is the head of elite coaching. So I've been working with the coaching teams to prepare them for the tournament. But I also have another hat in that I'm a player, I'm an athlete in the women's 35s squad. So I'll be removing my kind of coaching hat for a bit while I'm playing, but kind of helping in the background with a lot of the coaching aspects of Euros. I'm going to be pretty busy too.
Yeah, as most people would imagine with tournament play, and it's never a one trick pony. We all have many hats that we wear at tournaments like that, so it'll be fantastic to see you out there on the field running around. I'm sure we'll get some coverage of that. We'll be able to watch Sammie in action, and we'll see how that goes. So how many teams are England sending to Euros? Obviously, being the host, you'd be looking for a full complement.
Yeah, we're entering every division plus. So we've got the 10 divisions covered, men's open through to men's 50s, but we've got an additional senior mix team, which are called the Senior Mix Lions, England Lions team that will also be entering that division to sort of bolster the numbers, which is a fantastic initiative by FIT to actually ensure that division can play some test matches as well. So 11 teams in total, which we're really proud of, particularly post-COVID.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's as you say, post-COVID, as you know, we all transition out of the pandemic to have a full complement of teams there. That is outstanding. And you're right. The Federation allowing the division to progress with international matches, with test matches. That's certainly a consideration, obviously, at tournaments, and it's great to have that second team and participation. That's what it's all about when we think about the bottom line.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Sorry,
so go for it.
Like we've been training for an awfully long time, because even kind of during COVID, we managed to maintain some virtual sessions with the athletes, from wellbeing sessions to squad sessions to some guest kind of speakers to the whole high performance community. And then as soon as we were allowed, we went back into our training camps, initially as a kind of individual squads, and then slowly coming together as one England again. So it feels like we've been a long time preparing for this tournament, the longest kind of prep that we've had, even though it's been difficult to maintain that consistency because of all the things that COVID's thrown at us.
Yeah, I know way back at the start of the set of six, England were in fact the first group that we spoke to. And I've been impressed ever since that time, and the professionalism and the longevity of the plans that you had in place. As you said, the virtual training and the meetings and so forth, and the professionalism of the product that you put out there to keep England touch all together, and the work of Ben and obviously his team, Sammie, one that you're part of at that high performance level to keep people in tune and progressing. The fruits of your labour are plain to see with 10 teams in the Euros.
Yeah,
So
definitely. We're immensely proud of kind of where we've got to, and we're not going to sit here naively and say we're exactly where we were post 2019, because no one's going to be, and it's a bit of the unknown coming into a multi-day tournament at the intensity that we will be. But what we do know is, we've had outstanding preparation over many years now, getting ready for this tournament. We've had the benefit of selecting our teams from probably the biggest program we've put together to date as well. So the competition for places has just been phenomenal. So we feel really prepared and ready to go. But I think the overwhelming sense of excitement probably trumps all of that as well, which is what Touch is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And how are team preparations going? You said it's been a long preparation, but how are we looking as we days away from the actual tournament play?
Well, we've just had our final high performance camp last weekend, and it was great to get everyone together, do kind of shirt presentations and have some talks, I think, like individual squads as well as the whole of England together, because it's been a long time coming since that's happened, and it was nice to get that feel of being back together as one England and our community kind of coming together, both as staff together and able to have meetings all in person rather than virtually. And it just had a really good feel about it, especially going back to Nottingham University, which is kind of slowly becoming the home of England Touch with all the events that take place there and all the high performance camps that are run there. So it does feel like a bit of a homecoming, and it had a really nice feel about it. The squads seem to be all going in the right direction. Coaches are happy. Just a final sort of preparations to really tidy up now, and we feel pretty organised. Don't we, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, touch as much wood as we can, but absolutely we feel organised and ready to go. We've worked hard to develop a very professional setup as well. So our coaches and the support teams, nutrition, S&C, medical, mental skills. We had the environment was buzzing around the camp, and it was as close to a dress rehearsal as we're going to get as we get ready to arrive next Monday.
Yeah, you touched on earlier about the camaraderie of sport, or when teams get together. So that final camp being so close to the start of the tournament, as you said, as Sammie said, the jersey presentations, and that would really start to get the blood boiling, I would have thought. And I could just imagine how England are now set to take on Europe at these championships, and the gauntlet's been thrown down. We've had a few conversations with some other nations, and they're fairly confident as well. So it all augurs well for a fairly tight championships.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, I can comment from the perspective of having the privilege to read the names out of those jerseys, and it was a very emotional evening on Saturday night. We went away from just presenting jerseys to our debutants and actually represented jerseys to the entire program. So 160 athletes minus the England Lions. At this stage, they'll have their jerseys presented at the tournament. But to read out those 160 names was a huge privilege. But it got the emotions flowing. It was certainly, this idea that we've come back as one England after various forms of returning after COVID, and bubbles when we've been at training camps, and squads being quite insular to now very much together. Sitting in the position I do is very privileged to sort of see just all the hard work everyone's being put in. Players, coaches, TMs, our tour manager, logistics, you name it, it's been there. And I mean, at this point, I'll flick over to Sammie, as she was a recipient of one of those jerseys. So, it'd be interesting to hear her perspective as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, it's been a while since I've had a shirt presented to me. I think the last time was probably 2014. So it was really good to kind of go through that again and receive the shirt from our coach and and just stand with the squad holding our shirts up for some photos. Proud moments. It's always a proud moment to be able to put on your nation shirt representing your country, and so that feeling never goes away. And one thing that was quite notable as well from the ceremony was the number of people that were new to our program. We've had a few false starts because of COVID, where we thought a certain tournament would be taking place, and then it's been shelved. So I feel one thing that we've been really proactive at is moving athletes along our pathway, so that we're getting the best and the youngest athletes into the program at every given opportunity. So we've had a bit of a cascading policy of moving athletes into our seniors and masters programs. And so for the first time, I think we are probably closest to everyone kind of being within their right age category in terms of but notwithstanding those who have exceptional ability being maybe slightly higher up the tree.
Yeah, it's funny how what could be quite a challenging period that you said you've come through, but it also allows a little bit of regrowth and a little bit of development. It's almost like when a fire goes through and burns out the undergrowth and allows new growth and new shoots to come through. That's what sounds like's happened here for you guys. So that could be a pretty powerful position to recommence now and regenerate England touch on an international representative level.
Yeah, we definitely feel that. I mean, a very eloquent way to put it as well, Adam. I'm glad you've put it like that and didn't rely on me for that one. So yeah, it's exactly how we feel, and not just at a high performance level, but also just across the entire association. It's been a period of reflection and sort of preparation and planning and strategic planning, and one that I feel the high performance program will kind of carry that flag in terms of that sort of outwards look at the sport, and that we're there for everyone to see and aspire to, but also right down to kind of grassroots. England touch is growing at such a rapid rate, which is down to the entire workforce that we have, which are, they're all absolutely outstanding. So, yeah, definitely. And it's just great that we are very privileged to have the Euros in our country to kind of celebrate what we've been through COVID, but also welcome the rest of Europe as well, because, touch is a sport of, we mentioned that word before, camaraderie and, socializing, and it's as much about off the field as it is on the field as well. So we're really excited to be welcoming all of our European neighbours into England next week, and yeah, absolutely, it's going to be a brilliant tournament, and we're of course looking forward to watching how our teams perform.
That really sets up a nice segue there, Ben. Thanks for that. We invite comments in the into our chat here, and if you've got anything you want to ask Sammie or Ben, or just add to the conversation, please put your comments in the appropriate field, and we can interact with you. As we've seen, Narina just sent a message that all the French squads are looking forward to being in Nottingham next week. So already people are getting excited for what should be a fantastic tournament. Just on the preparation, have you guys, and Sammie touched on the fact that there were lead-in tournaments that, got postponed or sort of cast aside. Has there been much international touch that you guys have played in preparation for this? I know that some other countries visited, maybe one team or two teams that went abroad to play. How's your international preparation been?
Yeah, so we were very fortunate to have our Opens teams and our men's 40s and our men's 45s and 50s play as part of an international series last year, sort of September time. The 50s also played in July as well. And then amongst that, we had a number of sort of internal games, as well as our senior mix playing against some of the mixed open squads from Scotland and Wales as well. So, yeah, we feel we've got enough exposure. I mean, you'd always want more international touch coming into an international tournament. But we're also in the very privileged position that we start off with quite large squads. So our opportunities to play internally are very useful. Yeah. So we've made sure we've taken advantage of that whenever possible. But if we just sort of reflect back on the international series, our Opens teams performed exceptionally well throughout that period and didn't lose a fixture. which was brilliant. Our women's 27s were also playing as part of that against our women's Open B team. So they got some fantastic preparation as well. And our senior mixed had the opportunity to play against the other Opens teams from Scotland and Wales, and acquitted themselves really, really well. For at that point, they were a team that was developing, and they're well established now, which is fantastic. And then our 40s and 45s and 50s also had some invaluable game time against Wales, and they shared some home and away fixtures as well. Wales were really accommodating to our athletes and to our coaching teams, and I know there was a lot of collaboration that happened around those tournaments. So yeah, we feel that's been an opportunity that not many others have had. So we're very grateful for that, and feel that's given us a good pinch point as to kind of where we're at, and fueled the excitement leading into Euros this year for sure.
Yeah, and I know, I know the pride of England. You guys would be looking to reach finals in all of those divisions that you're in, and maybe the senior mixed have both teams playing each other. But realistically, what are the expectations of your teams? Where do you see, the best chance of success?
Yeah, look, you're spot on. I sort of own that right now to say we absolutely have an expectation, and I know our coaches and our athletes have an expectation that they're aiming for finals right across the board. We're also acutely aware, though, just how much is going on in other countries, and how confident other countries will feel coming into this tournament as well. So, we've made sure we've left no stone unturned. That there's no sort of naivety or lack of preparation going into this tournament. Albeit, we're quite happy to sit here and say, we want to win gold in as many divisions as we're entering, and we're entering all divisions. So, we're very excited about that. In terms of where we see some really hot competition, and not to neglect any division here in terms of we expect competition across the board, but the international series showed up some serious competition in the men's Open division. Ireland certainly taking our England men's Open team all the way to the wire on a couple of occasions, and both Scotland and Wales also look really strong, and France will be there thereabouts come the end of that tournament, as well as they always are. So we expect some stiff competition there. Our women's Open again, Scotland and Wales looking really strong, and what impressed me most at the international series was Ireland's progression over the 2 days of that tournament as well. So you bring France into that, and Belgium, and we expect that to be really tightly contested. But then you move into the seniors and masters divisions, and the 40s, 45s are always hotly contested, and that is really a kind of get through day one and assess who's playing well, and then day two rolls around, and actually you can get the complete opposite. So we know that there's going to be kind of variables there that we're not really sure about, because you've had players moving through the divisions, and as you've seen from the entry into Euros, we're up 2 teams, 60 teams entering from 58 in 2018. Another country extras, we're up 1 country, 16 entering in 2018, 17 in 2022. But what's noticeable is the seniors and masters divisions have bolstered massively. So, men's 30s looking as abundant and as ever with teams, women's 27s, women's 35s looking really strong with the amount of teams entering. So we expect all of those divisions to be hotly contested as well. And I know there's been a huge amount of preparation that's going into how to ensure we're performing in each and every game.
Yeah, I think that we've got, we've seen in a lot of sports how COVID has leveled the playing field in different areas. So it will be interesting to see, what countries have managed to alleviate some of the problems that COVID caused, and able to turn it around and restore themselves back to a position or beyond the positions they were in pre-COVID. So it will be just interesting to see how different countries have coped and managed that. It can, provide an opportunity for some countries to get ahead of where they were, because of the ability of other countries not to have got together and trained all together in person. So it will be really interesting. There may be some surprises. We hope not too many for us, but we hope we've put in enough preparation to kind of think of all those different scenarios and prepared for it. But it will be interesting to see the effect that COVID's had on the different nations and how everyone's come through that.
And more recently, one of the things that we've been hearing about that could have affected your preparations has been the heat wave you guys have experienced. It certainly would have brought some challenges, I would have thought, for training.
Absolutely. Yeah, we for those out there who didn't know it, it can get to 40 degrees here in England, as demonstrated last week. Strangely enough, and kind of right on cue, there's a bit of rain forecast for the week of Euros. Sun coming out for finals day at the moment in terms of long-term forecast, but it's going to sit, we think, around the mid-20s. So perfect touch playing conditions really in terms of the temperature. But let's just hope the rain stays away. We have had the benefit of just being at the venue over the weekend, and the fields look in absolutely top shape. Which is brilliant, and a bit of water there actually after the heat we've had might not be a bad thing. So if we do get the rain, then diving will certainly be the order of the tournament too.
So fast track at the moment.
To want to wish for rain.
Fast track. I must admit, I did see some pictures that you guys put out there, and the venue, as you said, was looking an absolute treat. So. Yeah, looking forward to some fast and furious action there this year. And I believe there's also another, reasonably large international sporting event that might be taking place in your backyard over there.
Yeah, absolutely. The Com Games. Com Games opening ceremony tomorrow, I think, and then the action kicks off on Friday. So, and we're really close by as well. Nottingham to Birmingham is not that far away. We've actually lost a few of our support staff to the Com Games as well. So it's excellent that I think a lot of people are looking at it going, oh, is that bad planning being at the same time? But actually, it just brings again the attention to our sport that's going to run alongside a major global sporting event, and we're right there, trying to get into that kind of frame, I suppose.
Yep. Holding your own, being able to run a tournament, as you said, to even get through losing some of the support staff, but still be able to run an event, and who knows, maybe draw some attention as well. People might not be able to get into the Com Game sports, but see something else happening and come along and watch a bit of touch.
Absolutely, and that we will be pushing out all of the coverage so that anyone who wants to come and spectate in person or tune in online will be able to do so. And just on the note of losing staff to the Commonwealth Games, we've actually lost one of our athletes to the Commonwealth Games because Lauren Torley, who was in our mixed open team, was selected for the England team sevens, England women's rugby sevens. So she'll be participating in that event, but she'll be coming back to join us for the kind of prize giving ceremony to help hand out medals. So we get a bit of her for this event. But it's nice to see how the skills of touch transfer into other sports, and how there's the ability for her to no doubt come back and play some touch one day too, but also be able to compete in the Commonwealth Games, which is a great achievement for her.
That's outstanding. And again, as you said there, it really demonstrates the how the skill set that we develop in athletes transitions into lots of other sports, not just rugby sevens, but also we've talked about it before, just the hand-eye sort of stuff, netball, hockey, soccer, all of those skills there. And she'll be taking on the Aussies, who are, fairly set for, they've set their eyes on gold, as have New Zealand. And both of those squads are chock-a-block full of touch football players that have come through our grassroots level over here and are now performing on that stage. So that's outstanding to hear that. And I'll keep an eye out. And I can't say that I'll be cheering for her when she plays the Aussies, but I'll have a little cheer when she's taking on the rest of the world. So fantastic. So I guess the other thing I just want to touch on is with that coverage that you're talking about and the promotion of the game over there, how does competing in a Euros, or how does holding a Euros benefit the grassroots of touch in England. How are you seeing the growth, or what growth would you expect to get from holding a tournament like this?
I suppose I should answer that, because in my other kind of role within England Touch, I've been involved in developing the game as a development officer for the sport. So, being able to make our sport more visible for people to see is really important, because, if you were to ask general 100 people in the street, had they heard of touch, it probably wouldn't be too high at the moment. So we need to continue working on raising the visibility of our sport and showcasing it as a sport for all ages, all genders, all abilities. And on that note, we will be having some showcase exhibition games of different formats of touch at the Euros. So we'll be having third age touch, which is more of an older generation of players playing touch, so slightly slower pace. Some may be walking, some may be jogging, some may be going a bit faster, and they've got slightly amended versions of the rules to enable them to play and enjoy and participate in the game. We've also hopefully got an all abilities team coming along who will have guides helping them to play, and we'll also have some schools and junior touch to show kind of the wide range of ages that play the sport. And we will be inviting various different partners that we have to come and join us to see the game itself in all its glory. So we're working on our partnerships. So we have a growing partnership with the RFL where they've adopted kind of the fit rules into their series, into their foundation touch series, and we're helping develop their referees to use our rules, and they're recognizing sport as touch as a sport, and facilitating more growth within schools of playing touch, and helping us to kind of spread the word. And various other partners that we've been working with, like the British Heart Foundation as our charity partner, we'll be inviting them along, and it's all just working together, networking to help grow our game in all the different forms that it can be played.
Kudos to you and your team, Sammie. That sounds outstanding to showcase the many levels of touch, and that it really sounds exciting. And I'll look forward to seeing that as well. And you hit the nail on the head about the game in its many facets. It really is a game for everyone, and that's the beauty of the sport. It doesn't take a lot of equipment. And you can also change the rules up to suit the participants. And here in Australia, we've seen the growth of the all abilities division at the National Touch League, where it's really grown to be super well publicised. It's so well supported. The crowds for those games, and especially the finals, are outstanding, and they have a real contribution now to the sport and the growth and development of our game. So again, kudos to you and your team for that promotion, and those relationships you've established with the RFL and your partners and charity partners as well. So that's fantastic to hear that.
Yeah, one other thing that I forgot to mention, the one thing we were working on as well, there's something called Park Run here in England. I'm sure there's Park Run that exists.
We've got Park Run here, yep.
And there's a new product called Park Play that's coming, that's in several of the parks around the country, where play leaders will rock up and they'll facilitate play of different games. So families can come along and play together. So all ages, it's a multi-generational sports, and so that touch is going to be looked at to be included within that format as well. So, in local parks, you could get families coming down to play together, which is something we've always wanted to try and grow to, because we see, very much as a touch as a sport for all. And if, we know that down under, that families will play touch on the beach, and there'll be touch played, and here that doesn't exist as much. So we really wanted to try and facilitate, a game that families can come together and play in parks, and encourage growth in that way as well.
Fantastic. That's really exciting to hear something like that. And as you said, that is the reality of the game, that families can just get together, and you see it in parks and beaches. And I know here in Australia, obviously, that real outdoor lifestyle. And the sport lends itself to that, and I can see that really working in England there too in the summer months in the park. So we get the images here of just how popular space in the park is. So just to turn up with a football and to get a scratch match together, that's outstanding. And your work has hit a chord with some of our viewers. We've had a comment here from Tavita B or Bay there. Can you come to Fiji in Nandi and get some of those things set
I'll
up?
go
So
to
there's
Fiji.
an invitation.
I got that one.
Yeah, Sammie puts her hand up. And we've got a question from Labib Levy, and g'day to Labib over there in South Africa.
Hi,
Question,
Labib.
we haven't answered it yet, but will all games or be televised or live streamed? And how can we go about getting onto that live stream?
Yeah, it's really simple and straightforward. I mean, the FIT will have it through their YouTube channel. But also right now, if you go into the event section on the FIT website, you'll see that the little live stream kind of logo there's already attached and next to the games that'll be on the live stream. Excitingly, it's not just sort of field 1 and field 2 that'll be streamed this year. Up to 5 fields will be going at once, I believe. So you'll get a good flavor of all the action across many divisions. The commentary will obviously be field 1, but there's going to be plenty to watch across those kind of 5 fields at any one time in each round. So yeah,
viewer selection, that's fantastic, and I'll look forward to watching the England Women's 35, Sammie, and seeing you put your skills to the test.
No pressure.
No pressure. And just to touch on too, I want to have a quick chat about juniors international touch, but I believe the Junior Euros is knocking on the door, only a couple of weeks away as well. You're back to back with tournaments. How are the junior preparations going for your teams?
Yeah, really well. We must admit it's been a struggle in terms of the recruitment of youth athletes coming out after COVID. The youth touch kind of set up throughout most countries in Europe is still very transient and very much dependent on what sports they're prioritizing and those kinds of things, which the likes of Australia and New Zealand also battle with in terms of the competition between sports to get those young athletes involved. But we're sending over our mixed 15s, our mixed 18s, our boys 18s, and our girls 18s to Vichy in France. It's a slightly smaller tournament this year in terms of overall entries into it, but I think just reflective of kind of COVID and where things are at, and families unsure around the long commitment that a campaign like this requires. We've lost sort of a year and a half, 2 years of athletes in terms of moving on to older age groups as well. So that's a challenge that we are working hard to address. But in terms of their preparations for the tournament, it's been excellent. The coaches have been working really hard. The support staff have, the parents have, and most importantly, the athletes have as well. We did take a bit of a break, a hiatus from their sort of training preparation through exams. So, those unfamiliar with the UK system and in terms of the examinations, sort of GCSE and A-level exams happen May through to the end of June. So we took that period off to allow our young athletes to focus on those public examinations that they have. But they had their final training camp the week before the final training camp for the Euros, and they were looking really sharp, and they also got presented with their jerseys as well. So, some very proud athletes heading off to Vichy in France later in August.
Excellent. And I touched on, as I said, junior touch internationally. There has been some recent changes announced by FIT with the cancellation of the Youth World Cup. But in place of the Youth World Cup, considerations of, for want of a better term, but geographical-based competitions, international competitions for juniors, where Europe will take on Africa and Asia, and then a separate tournament for the Pacific based teams, or the Southern Hemisphere based teams. How do you see that working for you guys? And is that something that you would see taking the place of a World Cup?
Yeah, look, I think circumstantially it makes sense. Travel is still so variable globally. And also, the restrictions that are completely different in various countries. You then put flight costs and things like that on there, and it becomes a very challenging environment to kind of look at a truly global event like a World Cup. So, I think first and foremost, the kind of practicalities attached to the decision makes perfect sense to us. And then in terms of, what's being proposed at the moment, I think one key thing for our athletes, and I would say, athletes across Europe, is just that variety and variability in who you're playing as well. So the prospect of coming into a youth tournament where, we're up against Asian nations and African nations as well, would be really exciting. We didn't go to the recent Youth World Cup in Malaysia. So I say recent, we're going back some time now, but so our youth athletes haven't had that exposure to countries outside of Europe before, despite, we have had the UAE come and play against us, which is always great. And they really enjoy that game because it feels like something different. So I think, the opportunity for not just England, but European countries to, pitch themselves against those youth teams from countries in Asia and from Africa would be really exciting. Should that be the path that, FIT in consultation with its members decide to take?
Yeah, absolutely. And still, obviously, as you said, there's some consultation with members to take place about, what the structure of those events might look like, what the age categories might look like, I guess, as well, some considerations there. As you said, we probably need to change our mindset because of those competing priorities around youth sport in general and how we're coming out of the COVID, situation. Lots of things to consider, but international touch at the youth level, I think, is so important. So we need to put something out there to attract those players and keep them in the system.
Absolutely. I do feel quite sorry for some of those athletes who've been training and were expecting, representative honours, but unfortunately they've moved beyond their age grade now so it's hard. The more, like Ben says, that we can provide for them in terms of competition that is different from JTC, is beneficial and also helps us to prepare them better for competitions when they do play against the Southern Hemisphere teams, because the more opportunities we have to play against other nations who are closer and have more ability to travel to the Southern Hemisphere, the better for us and our learning and development.
Yeah. And a good question here has come into the chat as well from Simon. Is there any support for a British and Irish touch Lions tour? Perfect time to start the squad at Euros.
So I know a few years ago that initiative was sort of launched by FIT, in particular. Gary Reynolds, the FIT events director, was a big champion of that. And, COVID kind of got in the way of the sort of initial planning for that. So, I'm sure it's still on the cards. There was definitely appetite for it from, England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales when looking at that. So, who knows? Maybe soon that might be something we're able to revisit as travel becomes more accessible and things like that.
Watch this space. I know certainly the Aussies would be championing at the bit to take on a British and Irish Lions, and I'm sure the Kiwis would as well. So watch this space, Simon, I would believe. And I can just see the smile on Sammie and Ben's face as well. I'm sure they'd love to get involved. So I guess it boils down to it now. We've talked about the teams. We've talked about the development expectations. But how excited are you personally for the event, Sammie?
Ridiculously excited. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. It feels like we've been preparing some full starts, but now it's finally here. It's just upon us, and just being back with a squad, and then separately in the staff dinner and meetings, you start to feel that buzz, and start to get butterflies back again. And sometimes when it has been a slog, especially through COVID, you remember why you do it and why you put so much effort into it, because of the great feelings that are generated by being part of something special like this, and the enjoyment that that we all get out of participating and being in this environment is all worth it.
Yeah. What about yourself, Ben? I'd imagine wearing several hats, and Sammie's in the same position. But when you wear several hats, there's different depths of excitement. You're excited for one aspect, but then equally excited about something else, and there'll be all like a flow of emotions as the event takes place and results start to come in.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like perhaps compartmentalizing my kind of excitement for the various teams that are there as well, all 11 of them. And then, the team that I'm extremely privileged to coach in the England Women's Open as well. But just really to echo exactly what Sammie said, it's sort of got to that point where it's beyond excitement. I'm not sure I felt this excited for a touch tournament for a long time. Probably have to go back to when I was a youth playing at, a New South Wales State Cup or something like that. That's the feeling I'm getting in that, you can't sleep for the few days leading up to it. And that's certainly kind of where it is at the moment. I'm even excited, in the hours and hours of admin that we're kind of coping through at the moment to get everything ready. Even that has an element of excitement as well. But, what it boils down to for me is just, very excited to see how all 11 teams, all 176 athletes, all the support staff, the medical staff, the mental skills coaches, the high performance panel, how everyone kind of pulls together and performs, but most of all kind of, represents that one England that we're all really proud to be there representing.
Yeah,
I think touch tournaments are unique in the way that you have an atmosphere at them that is like no other sport I've been part of, where you have people of all ages, all genders, all coming together, parading as a nation for the opening ceremony, and just the buzz and atmosphere that's generated by that spectacle is incredible, and it's just we're really grateful to be a part of that and to be representing our country in this wonderful sport.
Yeah, and I really love what I was going to say is I really love how committed you are as a group to that one England policy. It really does. It's demonstrated when you're together, and we can see as an outsider looking in, I can see and feel that at tournaments. So, again, kudos to the way you guys have developed that over a number of years, and the professionalism you touched on there, Ben, about the mental skills coaches, and you talk about dietitians that have been involved in your preparations, and your medical staff that are keeping the athletes on the field. It really is a professional outlook that you guys are bringing to the development of the sport at the moment. So congratulations and outstanding commitment to the game.
I think with our
definitely something where. Sorry, Sammie, go for it.
Just saying about our mental skills coaches, that we had 2 mental skills coaches that attended European Championship, the World Cup. But at the Euros, every squad now has access to a site, whether in person or virtually, which is a huge kind of improvement from World Cup, and something we identified as something we wanted to improve, kind of helping athletes build more mental resilience, have more abilities to cope under pressure, and all things that we identified on our kind of Touch World Cup report. So we worked hard to try and ensure that. It's still a work in progress. We're not quite there with it yet, but it's definitely in a much better place than it was before. And I think particularly because of a number of all of us having not been part of competitive sport in this way for a number of years now, the mental side of it will be incredibly important. So to have more support in that area, to get people, to get all the athletes and staff through it, is something we wanted to cater for.
So important. Yeah, well said, Sammie. Ben, you wanted to touch on something as well?
Yeah, I mean, partly just to echo exactly what Sammie said, but we pride ourselves in what we do off the field as much as what we do on the field. Preparation's key to that performance. So, our medical team led by Carrie Thorpe and everything she does with the strength and conditioning that comes into that as well. And Sammie working to not only recruit but also embed those mental skills coaches are just massive in terms of what we're trying to achieve on the field. And we're very ambitious in the way we're setting our stall out over the next 4, 5, 10 years. We want to be innovators, we want to be world leaders in our sport. So and a big part of that is exactly what you do off the field and the infrastructure you have. So it's really exciting. We've been able to grow that from 2018 Euros through to the World Cup and even more so now.
Yeah, throwing down the challenges on the field and off the field, it's clear to see that England is heading in the right direction in that respect. So, again, I'm excited to see how that transitions onto the field here, but then moving forward, the growth of the sport in England because it's been very impressive to this point. So I can only see it getting better. We're close to the end of the chat now, but the last thing I generally close on is a 1 minute elevator pitch. So you get an opportunity, a 1 minute opportunity individually to sell the game. But what I'm looking for here this time around is put a shout out to the people that are watching or that might come back and have a look at this conversation over the next couple of days. Why should they connect with Euros, and what, we've talked about how they can do it, but what's going to be the beauty of these European Championships from an England perspective, but also as the host country? Sell the championships, and how do we draw in an audience? Ben, I'm going to go with you first.
I was going to try and hand over to Sammie there. Well, look, I think it's a sport that, and we use this word a lot, accessible, but if you tune in and you're watching the Euros, if you're fortunate enough to be able to be there, it's a sport that I feel you can identify yourself in really easily, given how transferable it is from other sports, but also transferable from no sport at all. It looks as fun on the field as it is off the field as well. So it's a sport that if you're able to kind of get down and see at the Euros, that you'll be absolutely able to get amongst it as well, interact with the athletes, the event team, that kind of thing, which again is a really unique experience, given most major sporting events would not give you that level of access. Yeah. And then finally, just the opportunity to be part of something that is just another thing that England Touch are really proud to be a part of and host, in terms of our overall growth of the game as well. To be able to say that I was there and part of that in a few years' time, once we've continued to grow the sport even further, is something that I think people will be really proud to look back on.
Yeah, fantastic. And Sammie, what about you? How are you going to sell the product for us?
I've never done an elevator pitch before. This is quite new to me. So here goes. Touch is a sport for all. It means you can play touch, you can coach touch, watch touch, referee touch. You can participate in many different levels. No matter what your age, what your ability, what your gender, there's so few barriers to participation, and those that there are, we're trying to knock down and make it even more inclusive than it already is. It's just such a fun and social sport to be part of. But for me as well, as an athlete, it's just such a tactical game. It's such on the surface, it just looks, it's very simple to play at its basic level. But as you you develop more game understanding, it's just such a game of tactics, and it's like human chess on the pitch at high speed. It's just such a fantastic spectacle to watch and be part of, and the atmosphere at Euros will just be electric. And so I would encourage anyone to come down if you can, and actually see it in person, and feel the atmosphere for yourself, and watch the games and be part of the crowd and the noise. We would welcome that. It would be great for all of the nations to have many more spectators down there cheering them on. But if you can't, watching it online and just seeing the sport and understanding the different nuances of it versus other sports is great too. And the best thing, it's all free. So there's no cost to coming down to watch or watching online. It's all free, and so just knock yourselves out.
Beautiful. Well put, Sammie. You should do more elevator pitches, because you're a natural. But no, well said, guys. And I'll be looking forward to catching up with some of the games, like I say. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of people in Australia and New Zealand and all around the world that'll be tuning into the Euros. So I wish England all the best, and you guys as the hosts and the organisers of the program that are bringing us the tournament, as well as all of the other staff, as you said, the workforce that you have behind you, Ben, whether they're paid staff or volunteers. I'm sure you guys are going to put an outstanding tournament on the pitch. So congratulations on being the hosts and the way you've prepared your teams. I'm excited by your excitement. Just hearing you talk, I can see how committed and excited you are for the tournament. So very, very well done to both of you and all of the England team. Well, that'll wrap up another set of 6. It's been outstanding. Is there anything you want to say before we leave you, Ben and Sammie?
Just good luck to all of the nations taking part. We're looking forward to hosting you. We're looking forward to seeing many of our, friends from Touch over the years back together again in the same place. a lot of us have had the pleasure of being involved in the sport for a long time. So it's welcoming back old friends and meeting new friends and just enjoying being a community all together as Europe and bring on the games.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to echo Sammie's thoughts there, and a couple of thank yous as well in terms of that organisation that's gone. There's a big events team, as you can imagine, led by Chris Simon and Ashton Musgrove. The referee community have been instrumental in getting us to that point as well, and then finally to FIT as well, the support from Gary and everything he's doing to get the tournament up and running. It's a privilege to be the custodians of the tournament from FIT, and we're looking forward to hopefully doing a great job and giving Touch the exposure and the platform that it deserves. So and as Sammie said, very excited to be welcoming old friends and certainly making new friends.
Outstanding, and that's the beauty of our game. So again, congratulations on everything you've done so far, and we wish you all the best for all of your teams in the Euros. So thanks for joining us tonight. It's been a fantastic conversation, and a final shout out to people that may want to join in the action of Euros. Have a look at the Federation's webpage or social media, and the links are available there, as they are with England Touch as well. So have a look at England's socials and just keep in touch with the Euro Championships and how all of your favourite countries are going. So thanks for joining us for another set of 6. It has been fantastic. We're hoping to bring you another conversation during the tournament. So keep an eye on the Facebook page of the Federation, where the link will be announced for that conversation, a set of 6 with some of the participants during the action of the Euros. So until then, it's been a fantastic conversation coming your way. Thank you for joining us, and it's bye for now.